It's not in the garbage yet.
Now they want to keep it like away.
How I impacted. Yeah. So this is good. Last time.
Yeah, my baby.
Oh, that way, honey, here it is. So I get this stuff. I didn't say I'm gonna check. I gotta check. Wait, John, that's 'I'll check this exactly. I didn't see it, so I can't tell you. Guys, boy, dog.
I mean,
All right.
so there's a Shabbos, everybody, a good Erev Shabbos, almost Shabbos. So
This is live. Live on Facebook.
you have to go open. We have another. We have to go off soon. Offline. Anyway, so this week, I know everyone watches News India. Anybody watch News India? All right, so there was a parent suing, a set of parents, a father and mother suing their son for $650,000 because
You have a kid, right?
he doesn't want to get exactly. You saw it? $650,000 because not having children. They're not having children. It said the reason, the way they got the 650,000 was they said that it costs to educate a child.
Yeah.
On top of education, they bought him a car.
He never went to Jewish school.
And they sent him to the States. They sent him to the States to learn how to become a pilot. He came back. He wasn't practicing pilotism, whatever it is. He didn't become a pilot. He wasn't being a pilot. And they said it's their rights as parents to have a grandchild. Every parent wants to have children and grandchildren, and if they're not giving them grandchildren, then they want their money back.
They want a refund.
They want a refund. So the deal is, so the deal is they have a year. Either they have a child in that year, or they have to pay up $650,000. On the grounds of torture. They're torturing them mentally, and therefore they have to pay them that money. And they said it's every parent's right to have grandchildren. The question is, what rights does Torah give us as parents, or what are the responsibilities as children to parents? How far does the control of parents to the children, how far does it go? We know Torah gives us an obligation. We're going to read the Ten Commandments to honor our parents.
After 6 years old, it's like a volunteer.
After 6 years old?
Because I understand the work at 6, it's not really like a proper way to do it. But like after 6, you're allowed to do the work.
Yeah.
Like everything that they go to after 6.
Yeah.
What are you for that?
It's good to
They're
use.
like, "Ow." The Bible, the record is.
So the Gemara tells us that how far do we have to go to honor our parents? Because we're not allowed to, at any age, we're never allowed to embarrass our parents. We're never allowed to contradict them. We're never allowed to contradict our parents. We're not allowed to cut them off when they're speaking. We can't leave them outside freezing cold. We have to take care of to make sure that they're taken care of. The question is, until what age do we have to follow their demands of us? So, in other words, if our parent wants us to be a doctor, I always dreamt you should be a doctor. And the child says, I don't want to be a doctor. I'm afraid of blood. I don't care. I don't want to be a doctor. I want to play guitar. Could a child say, I want to play guitar and not become a doctor? Or does a child have to give it to the parents to become a doctor? So, actually, there's a story. I heard a name. I don't know if I should say the name. But of a famous Rav who at the time he was studying in the University of Berlin. His parents were in the States. This is back in the 30s, 20s or 30s. And he was in the States, and he met a nice girl over there, good family, nice Jewish family, and he wrote his parents about his find, and he was excited. And his father writes back to him that I think you're making your own choice. I made a different choice for you. And this is the choice I think you should make. And he wrote back to his father, his parents, and he said, while it's true, you might have made some choices for me, but according to Shulchan Aruch, and he quotes him where in Shulchan Aruch, he says, parents cannot control who their children marry. They can make suggestions. Smart children may listen to those suggestions, but they can't force their child who to marry. And this Rosh Yeshiva, the father, told his students this episode in the yeshiva, and he said, my son is right. He's absolutely right. I have no business mixing in. He's absolutely right. That's what it says in Shulchan Aruch. And I got to hand it to him. So, where do we have to listen to our parents? Where does it go? Where does the buck stop? So, Shulchan Aruch says, if it stops, is we have to, anything which is naigeh, anything which has to do with your parents, anything which concerns their life, you have to follow through with them. If it no longer concerns them, then you don't have to. Of course, we always have to respect our parents, but we don't have to. We don't have to give in to every demand that has nothing to do with them. They tell you what car you should drive, and it's not concerning their life. Once you're an adult, you don't have to listen to that. However, the same time, they paid for his $80,000 car in India, and now they want their money back because. So maybe if they would have taught him a little bit, maybe they wouldn't have spoiled him so much. Maybe then he would have listened more. And so, but the Torah does tell us that in order to fulfill the mitzvah of having children, you have to have a son and a daughter. But that's not it. Shulchan Aruch says you have to have a son and a daughter who are capable of having children. If they're not capable of having children, then you don't fulfill the mitzvah with them, and you should try to have more children. And so we see here there is an obligation, so to speak, of being able to have grandchildren. In fact, if you look at the davening, we say there every morning, we say probably on page 5 in Nuseder. No, sorry, probably on page around 7. V'niya anachnu v'tzetzeinu v'tzetzei. We should merit to learn Torah. Our children and our children's children. And so we're asking Hashem specifically for our grandchildren. So there is a mitzvah, so to speak, to have grandchildren. To be able to sue 650,000, I guess another story. But there's definitely a mitzvah to have grandchildren. To want to have grandchildren is definitely a good thing. But the Rebbe explains that we're going to be celebrating Shavuos this weekend, and Sunday we're going to have the mitzvah to hear the Ten Commandments in Shul. Specifically, children. It's not going to be on screen. It's not going to be live. It's not going to be live stream. It's going to be in Shul. Either be here or you miss it. Ice cream party, serious ice cream party. The gelato came in. All right. So serious ice cream. Okay, good. However, the Rebbe explained, and the mitzvah is to have children here specifically, specifically children. But the Rebbe explains, the Rebbe reminded us, and the Rebbe said it many times, that the children, it's not just us having children. The commandment isn't that we should have children. The commandment is children are children also, that we teach Torah. It's this week's Torah portion. We're going to read tomorrow in the Torah that a parent, that someone that teaches someone Torah, it's as if they fathered them. And so, a child that learns Torah from someone, anyone learns Torah from someone, is as if they're the parent. And a person has to respect the person they learn Torah from, like a parent. And it says, the Rebbe said, take it further, the Rebbe said that a teacher, why does it say in the Parsha that it's as if you gave birth to them? Why does it say there's a mitzvah to teach Torah? Why does it say, why is it connected to being a parent? And the Rebbe explains, because when we teach someone Torah, the connection to them has to be in a way that you care for them as a child. Your care now for this child has to be as if they're your child. And that's what Arya Mati do every day in Hebrew school. They take the children are their children, really. They say the chapter of Tehillim for them. Because they take it as if their child, and it is, the Torah considers it as their child. And that's what the Rebbe says, they're going to live with them. And that's what the Rebbe says, teaching Torah has to be. And it has to be any time you have an opportunity to teach someone Torah, it should be in a way where we connect with them, as if they're really, as if mamash a child. Not that they should want to sue us one day, or we should want to sue them, but if they're not teaching others, they're not making spiritual children. Anyway, better shut this off because we're in Shabbos now. And